Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad that you're alive. I wish I could give you all a bunch of candy in your little buckets today because it's Halloween, but it's not Halloween for you guys, unfortunately. I really didn't time this up right. I was thinking that this episode was going to come out on Thursday, and I'm like, I don't upload on Thursdays, so it is a day late and $1 short, and I'm so sorry about that, but you know what? It's fine. So yeah, this is finally a spooky story, Reddit story, spooky story, Halloween story edition. So I found a couple, like one is just a normal story that I thought was just like creepy, and then there is a story from the Let's Not Me Reddit story page that I got permission from the writer or OP to read. And then the other one, actually, a Storytime Society member wrote in the Storytime Society Reddit. So, by the way, if you want to join that, it's linked below. And the last one, I am going to be sharing my own personal ghost story from when I was growing up. So, yeah, I thought that it would be like a good time to tell you guys this story because it's definitely like an eerie story, and I don't even want to say eerie. It's disturbing. So I don't know, but um, so yeah, hi guys. If you guys aren't already, please press the subscribe button, maybe press the like button, and if you could comment or wait until the end and let me know what you think about the stories that we talked about today. And the last thing I was going to say is if you are listening and watching on YouTube and you want to listen or watch on Spotify, the link is below for the Spotify. And then if you're listening on Spotify, we do have a YouTube account if you want to watch on there instead. But I would love if you would give me a follow or press the subscribe button. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. But I hope that you guys are having the best week ever. A happy Friday. And I hope you had a fun Halloween. I don't know if you guys are celebrating this weekend for Halloween or if you already celebrated last weekend. I know a lot of people celebrated last weekend, and I was very shocked because I was not ready for that. I wasn't prepared. So then I saw everyone celebrating last weekend, and I was like, you know what? Am I just not going to do anything for Halloween because I thought we were going to be celebrating? I thought I had a whole extra week, but apparently not. So, and I also really wanted to hand out candy tonight, but then like today I've had a really busy day and I still have so much more to do and I don't have candy. So I'm like, I don't really have time to go get candy, and I also have so much to do that I'm like, do I have time to sit outside and hand out candy? Also, our little kid's going to be walking around my neighborhood asking for candy. I can't wait to be like that parent that is just like outside handing out candy, honestly, and I really wanted that to be me this year, but I'm not sure if I can swing it or not. Um, okay, wait. Yeah. Okay, so I don't really have much to talk about today, but tomorrow, which when you're watching this, I might be doing this right now. Me and my friend are going to go to a cafe and we're gonna like get some mimosas. They have like this unlimited mimosa all day deal at this cafe down the street from me. It's $16 and it's all day. Like you can go at night and get it. You can go in the morning, you can go in the afternoon, and it's $16. Unlimited mimosas, bottomless mimosas, so nice. So we're gonna go to yoga and then we're gonna come home and we're gonna like get ready and shower and stuff, and then we're gonna meet each other at this cafe and we're gonna bring our laptops so we can get work done. We're gonna have some mimosas, probably chat like too much because we usually do, and then we're gonna go see Smile 2, which I'm so excited about because my boyfriend doesn't like scary movies and her fiance doesn't like scary movies. So we always are like, we need to just start going to the scary movies together because there's only so many times I can force my boyfriend to go see a scary movie. And some scary movies I cannot force him to go to because I'm like, he will actually hate me. Like if I took him to see The Terrifier, he would literally hate my guts. And I'm like, he would not enjoy it even the slightest. But he did like Smile 1, but he's like, I don't really want to go. So go ahead. Like, go ahead. You can go with her. But I think will be more fun with someone that actually enjoys scary movies. Even though usually when I take him, he does end up enjoying it. It's just, I love scary movies. Like, I seriously love them. And I don't know what it is about them. And I've always loved them. Like, ever since I was little, I loved scary movies. Like, I used to watch Chucky religiously. Now I'm like scarred by him because I watched him for so long when I was little. And then by the age of like 6 or 7, which is crazy, I ended up getting really scared of him, and because I had watched so much of his movies, and then I got so scared. All of a sudden, a switch like flipped in me, and I got so scared of him. And I would think whenever I was going to the bathroom, I would think he was gonna come up through the toilet and like get me. And I also would not go in my basement of my dad's house without like a sibling coming with me because I was so scared that Chucky was down there. So, oh my god, sounded like someone was knocking, and I'm thinking about Chucky right now, so my heart's like pounding. Like, please, Chucky, don't get me. I don't know what I would think. I haven't watched those movies in years because I've just been so scared. I would love to watch those now. I wonder what I would think about them because everything's so different when you're older. But anyways, we're going to start with the movies. The movies, not the movies. We're going to start with the stories. I'm going to actually kick my cat out and then I'll be right back. Okay, for the first story we're going to read is from Let's Not Meet, and we're just going to start. The title is A Man Wanted to Eat My Tattoo. I'm a 29-year-old woman. I lived in a big city all my life, but at the beginning of April, I moved to a medium-sized town about 1 hour away from that big city, along with my sister and our 4 pets. This happened after a month of living here. My sister was preparing her final presentation for arts undergraduate, which was going to be shown in the city, so she had to spend the whole day there to make her preparations. I was left home alone with our cats and dogs, so in the early evening, I decided to go for a long walk with my 2 dogs. We walked for like an hour, but about 5 minutes away from our home, as we were headed back, I saw a man knocking on a door about a block away. I thought he looked a bit weird because he would knock on the door, look around, and then knock on the door, and then look around again. But he didn't look dangerous, so I just kept walking since I had to pass by him to take the street that would take me to my home. When I was about 10 meters away, he looked my way and started walking towards me. He was tall and slender and was carrying what looked like a box of candy. He asked me if I had any coins to spare. I told him, "Sorry, mate, I only have my dog's poopy bags. Have a good one." And I was ready to keep walking when he saw one of my tattoos and stopped me. For some context, I have tattoos. I'm not heavily tattooed, but I have several in my arms and legs, and since I was wearing shorts, the ones on my legs were visible. The specific one he was looking at is of a ghost woman in a traditional Japanese style. As he stopped me, he said, "That's a really cool tattoo. Would you give it to me?" I just laughed uncomfortably, thinking he was joking, but he was dead serious, just staring, blinking at my tattoo. He then continued, "No? So you're just going to let the maggots eat it? Such a shame. It would be better if a person ate it." At this point, he raised his face and looked me straight in the eyes with a very flat smile that seemed to be an attempt to be friendly, but only made me feel even more uncomfortable. He then asked me for my name, and not wanting to antagonize him, I gave him a fake one. Let's say it was Regina. He then asked me if I lived in town, to which I also lied and said that I was from a big city and just visiting. He then told me he used to live in that city too. He lived on the streets downtown. He told me he used to rap in buses to get money, and just out of the blue started rapping about me, still looking at me straight in the eye. He rapped about how I was very pretty, how amazing my tattoos are, and in his rap he said my name was Lorena. I corrected him and said my name was Regina and not Lorena, since I had a suspicion he realized I had given him a fake name and was testing me. He just smiled and nodded. He then asked me if I'd give him my number. I said that me and my dogs had to go home, that we were expected. He pointed at a butcher shop a block away and told me that we could sit over there while I gave him my number, that it wouldn't take long, but I told him that I couldn't, that the one waiting for me at home was my boyfriend, but I was lying again since I was home alone. His smile faded a bit and he just said, "Well, that sucks." I wished him a good evening and turned around to leave, only for him to drop to his knees and grab my leg with both of his hands. He started caressing my tattoo while whispering, "It really is a goddamn cool tattoo." My dogs are pretty friendly, and they were very calm during this whole exchange, but when he grabbed my leg, they started growling. I pulled my leg out of his hand, wished him a good evening again, and just walked away as fast as I could. I took a longer way home to make sure he didn't follow me, and once home, I took a shower and scrubbed my leg really well since I felt so gross after all of that. Luckily for me, I haven't seen him again, but for a while after that, I made sure to cover my tattoos every time I went outside, just in case. Okay, wait, I was gonna say, what if he literally grabbed her leg and took a chunk, like bit it? Like, bit a chunk out of her leg because he was obviously not well. But that's actually crazy. What does that even mean? Like, does he mean like it would be better if like I almost gives that he was saying he was gonna kill her and then like the maggots were gonna eat her, so he should just eat her. I don't know. That's so weird. Ooh, if that happened to me, I wouldn't have gotten that far. Like, I do get scared when like, when men try to talk to me, I get scared to turn them down because I feel like if I turn them down, then they'll be even worse than if I were to just talk to them and be nice. But then at the same time, it's like, then something like this happens and you're stuck talking to this weirdo that is making you so uncomfortable and saying the weirdest shit to you. And so I'm like, what gives? Like, I guess I would just be like, if he grabbed my leg, my pepper spray would have been used on his eyeballs. Like, seriously, I would have taken him out with my pepper spray. And then I would have ran so fast because I've never had someone do something that crazy to me, but I know I'd be freaking out because I would already be freaking out that he said that to me in general. So like after he said he wanted to eat my tattoo, I'd be trying to escape so quickly. I don't even know how she stayed for that long to like have a full-on conversation with him and then also for him to get as close to like drop on his knees and grab her leg like that. Like that's just actually crazy. I'm scared of that. Some of the comments are saying, better if a person ate it. Nope. No interpretation of that is welcome or harmless. Creep. And then OP said, I wonder what his goal was. Was he just trying to creep me out? Hard to say, but it's very valid how creepy he was. It could be this or maybe some cannibalistic fetish. I think it was cannibalistic, honestly, personally. And then someone said, this is unrelated, but why do Redditors say when they've... Oh, I don't care. Shut up. Okay, this girl said, I'm so glad you had your dogs with you and that he didn't follow you. For some reason, this reminded me of the time I went to an older theater to watch Pan's Labyrinth. I noticed an older generation staring at me. What generation? I noticed an older gentleman staring at me. It continued for a few minutes, and then he walked up to me and said he loved my hair, that it was so pretty. His voice was so monotone, and then he walked away and grazed my back and touched the ends. I was with my boyfriend at the time, so I felt safe, but I was super creeped out. Opie said, it really is so creepy. I had never had a man touch me without my consent before, so it was very off-putting. I'm glad. Also, I had my dogs, but to be honest, they're both medium-sized Cocker Spaniels. One of them is a senior, and the other looks like a teddy bear, so they're not very intimidating. Her saying that she's never had a man touch her without her consent before reminds me that, because I was trying to think, like, have I? But when in 2020 or 2021, I don't know, we were at, like, me and my friends were at this bar, and I was, like, tipsy. I wasn't, like, wasted, but I was definitely tipsy, and it was, like, the last call, and people were leaving, so we left, and then this, like, group of men were walking next to us, and he was, like, I don't even know, this short, bald man was talking to me. I don't even remember what he was saying, but I think we might have been having, like, I can't remember, it's so long ago. We were having like a negative interaction, I think. Or maybe we were just talking, I don't know. But all of a sudden, I was wearing a tube top. He pulled my top down and I had no bra underneath. So my titties were out in front of so many people. Because it was literally like everyone was getting kicked out and there were so many people around us and my whole titties were out. And then my friend like literally kicked the fuck out of him, and I think I kicked him or I like pushed him or something or hit him. I don't know what I did, but we were freaking out and I was like, I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, no way that you just actually whipped my titties out in front of everyone. Like, please. That was crazy. Honestly, that's like one of the craziest things that I think has ever happened to me. I've never just had some man like whip my tits out. What for? What for? I mean, he was probably just a creeper weeper, but whatever. Okay. And the next story we're going to read is the submission from one of our Storytime Society members. Thanks, whoever you were. Thank you so much. We love you. Okay. So the title is just My True Ghost Story. And it starts, I've always been fascinated by the paranormal. As a 4-year-old, I watched Ghost Hunters religiously. This story happened to me when I was in kindergarten, but the fear I felt makes the memory vivid, like it happened yesterday. There's not much backstory needed to understand this story, except knowing a little bit of the house I used to live in. The kitchen was connected to the living room, and the kitchen/dining area was an open concept. There was an add-on that was built off the dining room where we did laundry. Basically, what this means is that when standing in the doorway from the living room into the kitchen, you could see into the add-on and out the laundry room window. I had been watching TV with my parents when I went into the kitchen to get something to drink. I remember time slowing, and I felt the urge to look towards the dining room instead of just going into the kitchen. There was a woman in the corner of my dining room. I remember looking at her and through her at the same time. My feet were glued to the carpet as we locked eyes. I knew that the second I turned away from her, she would be gone, and I wanted to spend as much time as I could in that moment with her. She was all white, as you'd imagine a ghost would look like. I have this vivid memory of trying to study her, but it being hard because I could see the branches of trees swaying out the laundry room window through her body. I was scared when I first saw her, but the more I stared at her, the fear twisted into fascination. I never saw her again, but my dad saw her twice after I saw her. I know the fact that I was so interested in the paranormal makes this unbelievable. However, the woman was wearing a 1920s evening set that I would never have been able to construct in my head as a 5-year-old with no knowledge of fashion history. Every time I think of her, I can still see the details in her clothes, and I know she was real. I honestly believe, because I feel like when you're younger, you have a way, like, the veil is thinner in a way. Like, little kids are more prone to seeing, because the mind is so innocent and so young and vulnerable, and it hasn't been, like, touched by much experience. I feel like it's easier for little kids to see ghosts. And, like, I believe in ghosts because I believe that there's an afterlife, so I feel like there has to be ghosts. I'm not really sure what the ghosts, obviously I'm not a ghost expert, but stuff like that does really interest me. Like that one famous medium, I think he's a medium, Tyler or something, I don't know, but he's super famous, and he has like I think he had like a reality show kind of deal where he would like go, he's like a celebrity medium or something. He really interests me, and I don't know. I don't know. Because I do know that some people definitely are like doing it for the money. And then I do feel like people really have that gift, which I always wished that I had like some sort of gift like that. Because I used to watch Ghost Whisperer a lot. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's with Jennifer Love Hewitt, which she's literally the babest babe ever. And if you watch that now, like, and watch all her outfits, she's the cutest, and she wore the best outfits during that show. But I used to watch that a lot, and I even like restarted that show like last year and watched it a lot. And when I was younger and I would watch that show, I was like, why wasn't I gifted? Please give me some gift. Like, I've always been average at everything. So like, please God, why didn't you just give me at least the gift of like something cool, like connecting with the afterlife or something? Like, I'm sure it would be exhausting, but at the same time, like, that'd be so cool. And then, like, to just have so much knowledge about the afterlife. And, like, at that point, you would be so sure of the fact that there was an afterlife. And even if people didn't believe me, I wouldn't care, because if it were true and I really had that like special ability, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, "Okay, don't believe me. Then you're the one missing out." Like, I could tell you all this stuff because I saw him making a TikTok about what like happens after you die and stuff. And obviously he doesn't know everything, but he was like saying how what he knows and what he's gathered from like his experiences with ghosts and stuff. I think I'm not really sure what he was really like calling them or referring to the afterlife as, but I just find it so interesting, that kind of stuff. Obviously, because it's such an unknown and like no one knows and you don't know unless you've died before. But I would be I would definitely love having that gift, but at the same time I'd be so scared that people would just think I was like had a really bad mental illness or something, and I'd just be like, "No, I don't." Like, cuz what if that's like some people's mental illness? Like, what if some people actually can see things and see like things that aren't there? And it's actually, I don't know. I always think that. I'm like, I don't know if I would be like, do I have a like mental illness, or can I actually see like dead people? You know, I feel like I would fight back and forth with it and not know what was real and what wasn't. But anyways, there's obviously like there's no comments on that. So cuz that's on our subreddit, but I think we're at like 300. Yeah, we are. We're at 300 Storytime Society members now. So you guys should join cuz there's 300 of us now and it's really fun. I can't believe it. Okay, this is the regular story, but I thought it was creepy. Like, the title sounded creepy to me, but this was written in Am I the Asshole? So, am I the asshole for being angry that my roommate was sleeping under my bed for months without telling me? I, 24 male, have lived with my roommate, Carl, 24 male, for 2 years. A few months ago, into rooming with him, he told me he was pansexual. I said, okay, cool. I'm not interested in that personal information, nor am I judgmental. I said, all right. A few times over the last year, he has asked me if I had ever considered experimenting with other men. I said, nope. Also, I said I didn't feel comfortable with him asking me such a personal question. It's not like we're close friends. We're only roommates by happenstance, basically. Anyway, every time I said this, he basically said, we'll see. I was like, what? Anyways, last night I had a horrifying experience. I heard a noise under my bed. It was movement. At first, I thought I was imagining things. But then I heard it again. I thought, oh God, is it a mouse or a rat or some shit? My God, this was like 3 a.m., so I got out of bed and looked under my bed with my phone flashlight. Now this here was the most startling moment of my life. I guess I am lucky because I've never before this moment felt true terror and fear as a physical sensation. But I was completely jolted. There under my bed was my roommate, staring wide-eyed at me, and he screeched when I looked under the bed. I literally thought I was having a heart attack. I then just started hearing sorry, 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 sorry. My roommate crawled out from under the bed crying, apologizing over and over. I was so creeped out and afraid that I ran out of the apartment in my pajamas. There was a Dunkin' Donuts that was open 24/7 a few blocks away, so I just sat there with a decaf and a breakfast sandwich with my heart thundering away. My roommate kept texting me, asking me to talk. I ignored it. In the texts, he found a way to horrify me even further. He confessed that he had been sleeping under my bed a few nights a week for 3 or 4 months, and that he was doing it to get closer to me and physically saturate each other. What the F? I waited for him to go to work and I ran into the apartment, got my essentials, and left. I'm currently crashing with a buddy. Our lease is up in 1 month, and my intention is simply to not renew. This dude is blowing up my phone, and I'm getting texts from other people, some friends of mine, and some bozos who are friends with him. He's going around telling people I shamed him and that I'm rejecting his apologies. Some people are claiming I'm overreacting and invalidating his feelings. Most people agree he was improper, but think I should work it out with him and give a second chance because he's sensitive. I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I'm seriously 20% convinced I'm experiencing a long lucid dream of some sort and wondering if I'm going to wake up or if I'm in a coma or something because this shit is so insane to me. Like, not really, but maybe really. I mean, what the F? So am I the asshole, or is everyone around me an effing nut? Everyone around you is an effing nut. What do you mean? Who would think that's normal? Who would be like, oh, you need to give him another chance? Like, no, that's like serial killer vibes. What do you mean your friend was sleeping under your bed? What? Ew. That's the scariest thing. That's actually my biggest nightmare. I mean, I've never thought about that before, but now that I'm thinking about it, that's my biggest nightmare. If my fucking if my old roommate, like one of them, all of a sudden I heard noises under my bed at 3 a.m. and I looked under there and she was sleeping. Oh my God, I would never enter that room again. Like, I think I would set it on fire. I'd be so scared. That's the scariest thing ever. The fact that anyone would be like disagreeing with you is crazy to me. The fact that anyone would be like taking his side or saying his friends have to not know what actually happened. His friends have to think that like he had to have told him a different story. Unless they're just whack jobs, which probably if they're friends with this guy, not him saying physically saturate each other. What does that mean? Physically saturate each other? What do you think sleeping under his bed is going to make him want you like subconsciously or something? 3 or 4 he was sleeping. How did he do that? How did he sleep under your bed? That'd be insane. I would never trust a roommate ever again. There'd be no way I could live with anyone ever again. And I would genuinely dream about that for months, that like someone was under my bed. That's crazy. Honestly, this is the craziest story I feel like I've ever read in my life. Okay, let's read some of the comments. Dude is not mentally stable and you need to get out of there. Sounds like he'd end up wearing your skin or some shit to physically saturate with you. Truly. Honestly. Retweet. People are saying he's in the wrong. Man, those people have lost their minds. Sleeping under someone's bed, that's out there. Okay, creepy roomie has lied like a bitch to all of them, subbing in a far less disturbing behavior. Creepy roomie 1000% didn't mention to any of these people that he's been sleeping under OP's bed. He's probably telling everyone he confessed his feelings or something and OP took off because homophobia or something. I'm mostly totally stunned that anyone has heard this story and would go, well, yeah, a bit weird, but not that bad. I was the kid who couldn't pee without checking behind the shower curtain and it haunted me for years, and no, my parents didn't spy on me. On the contrary, I trusted them 100% when they said I had every right to privacy as a human being. This experience would haunt me for life to a degree where I'd check under the bed every night with pounding heart and probably have to seek counseling. OP, you need to read up on stalkers and how to get away from them / cover your tracks. When he's this unhinged already, I doubt he's willing to just chalk it up to, well, that made me freak out in an unhealthy way, and I should probably leave this dude forever alone, besides telling him I'm getting a shrink and will leave him alone forever. After this, I hope he does just leave you alone, but odds aren't that great, and better to be prepared than realize later on that he knows your new address. No, seriously, this man would be in my dreams, like, torturing me for years on end. I would go to therapy. I would literally go to therapy, like, probably 4 times a week because of this. I mean, who even thinks that up in their brain? Like, let me go sleep under my roommate's bed for 3 nights a week for 4 months and physically saturate. Like, what's wrong with you? Oh God, reading that I started hearing that line about it rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. Huh? What does that mean? Don't say that. He also needs to drop these mutual friends. If they heard that story and their response was just give him a chance. Give him a chance to what? Make you into a lampshade? I would have died if I looked under my bed and saw a person. My heart would give up. This is not okay, and that dude is not okay. No, seriously, I would be calling the cops. 911 would be called immediately. This man would be, I'm sure if 911 came, they would find something in his room, like maybe a head in the mini fridge or something. Dare I say? Like, I'm genuinely so scared. Oh my God. I cannot believe this is a real story. Like, I'm so shook right now. I feel so terrible for this person. They wrote this story 2 days ago, which I'm assuming there's no updates or anything, but yeah, there's no updates. But damn. Please. This is crazy. He's commenting like a lot, but a lot of people are blaming, like saying that this is so stupid. I don't, well, I don't really know what they're saying, but I just am reading his comments. He said, I don't know what he responded to this, but he said, whoa, whoa, this is not a shot at the LGBTQ community at all. I think my roommate is a loon, but his sexual orientation is not a factor. He is a loon who happens to be pansexual. There are many loons who are straight, probably more. It is not a causation in this story. I have nothing whatsoever against LGBTQ people at all. 99% of straight people or LGBTQ people would never secretly sleep under someone's bed. As to the point for, yes, it is strange language, but it was the language I used. I'm not sure what you mean by attacking a group of people, as if this lingo is used by some specific subgroup of people. In my experience, it's lingo used by a lot of Gen Z, regardless of what other characteristics or groups they are a part of. I understand why you think it's not real. I can hardly believe it myself, but it is. I don't mind if you don't believe me, really, but I have to insist this is truly not meant as some sort of diss on LGBTQ people in general. I think you're reaching here. And lastly, I don't think calling something personal is judgmental. I don't need to know about private matters of anyone. It's not a relevant thing, surely. I mean, I think he was just giving like his minimal experience of what has happened previously with his roommate that maybe he thought was like weird because his roommate clearly wanted, like, it seemed like his roommate was interested in him. So I think he was kind of giving that as like as some backstory and context of like how his roommates, because that's creepy. If my roommate were like basically asking if I'd be interested in them, because he basically was saying like, would you ever be interested in guys before, which I feel like is just trying to hint at like, hey, are you interested in guys? And then if he would have said yes, then he would have probably tried to go after him or like, get with him. Okay, now it's time to read my ghost story. I wrote so that I didn't have to like, stumble upon my words while telling a story and make it like very unbearable. So, okay, it's pretty short, but like I also have actually, you know what? I'm going to give a severe trigger warning right now because this is loss of a baby. Like stillborn, I don't even know what to call it, but it's very disturbing about babies. So if you don't want to hear about that, then definitely don't listen to this because it's like it's very, very sad. And yeah, so that's the trigger warning. But I'm going to tell my experience and then I'm going to read a report on like a news article. Okay, that goes along with it. So I used to live in this house. It was a big white house, and I feel like when you looked at it or went inside, it was just a house that you knew would be haunted. It was super outdated, had a rusty playground in the back, all the things. Since we had moved in, we were always having weird experiences and hearing things in the house. We always thought we would hear footsteps running up and down the staircase, the doors on each side slamming, and one day I remember my keyboard had made a couple noises like the keys were being pushed, but no one was touching it or even near it. My mom, me, and each of my siblings all had different little experiences in that house that we honestly just kind of assumed was a ghost because it was just so often that we were hearing noises like this. So, one day, my mom was mowing the lawn, and this was pretty soon after we had moved in, probably a few months after. One of our neighbors came up to my mom and was like, "Have you heard what happened in this house?" My mom had no idea what she was talking about, so she was like, "No." And then the neighbor explained that the woman that used to live there had a baby in the upstairs closet of the master bedroom. The baby was stillborn, but she didn't tell anyone that it had happened, and these neighbors that were telling my mom about this were the ones who reported it to the authorities. So, basically we had like a bunch of experiences with a ghost, and then we found out that there actually was a, not really a death. Well, actually, we don't know for sure. So I'm gonna read this, and this is like the more this is definitely the more triggering part, and this is the article that was written about this house that I used to live in as a child. And I'm going to insert pictures on the video version if you want to look at this house that I used to live in. And I'd say big white house because I was so little and it felt so big, and it really wasn't that big now that I look back at it. But it just felt big and old to me. Like it almost felt like the haunting of the Hill House. Like I thought that's how I felt when I was little living in that house. But like looking at it as a 26-year-old definitely doesn't look as big. But okay, I'm going to read. Even with evidence of one newborn in a closet and another disposed of in an incinerator at a veterinarian's clinic, police and prosecutors say they have no basis for any criminal charges against the mother. The mother cannot even be charged for improper disposal of a body because the law says that it's not a body until it breathes. Investigators so far have no definitive evidence of a live birth in either case. An autopsy report on Sarah Jones, the infant whose remains were found in the closet of a Bettendorf home April 29th, concluded no definitive evidence of a live birth was present. The report says that Sarah, left in a bucket in the closet, was 36 to 37 weeks in gestation. A full-term baby is 40 weeks. The 8-page autopsy report discloses the mother admitted to having another child and disposing of its remains at a veterinary clinic where she was employed. No gestation for that baby was listed. Those involved in the case say the investigation is not over. Police say they are still awaiting results. The case still remains a high priority in our department, and we will make sure all investigative leads are explored before any final decisions are made regarding charges. The autopsy report describes Sarah Jones as a well-nourished, well-developed baby girl weighing 5 pounds 12 ounces and measuring 19 inches long. Broward described the baby as beautiful and not what we expected to find. After acting on an anonymous tip, obtaining 2 search warrants, and searching the property at 605 16th Street. I will kind of continue talking about it a little bit. Obviously, so we didn't know about this. Obviously, as I stated before, we had no idea that this happened. And so when we were living in this house and we had these experiences for a few months, me and my family really believes in like that kind of thing, like the paranormal and ghosts and afterlives. And we grew up very religious, so we really believed in ghosts and that there was an afterlife and that you could be visited by spiritual. We thought that this ghost was good, though. We felt like it was a good ghost. So before we found this out, we named the ghost. We kind of had a feeling, I don't know, it was weird. I mean, I was very little, so like obviously this is a lot of my experience based on what I remember like my family talking about. But I did have like several experiences myself, and the keyboard being one of them. Like I remember physically being so confused. I was sitting in my bed and my keyboard was on, and it was across the room from me, and all of a sudden I start hearing it. Like obviously it wasn't like Beethoven, but there was just like a couple like of the keys being played, which obviously could be chalked up to a malfunction of the keyboard or something. But I chose to believe that it was this ghost, and we had named this ghost Alexander because we kind of felt like it was like a young ghost. And so once we figured out about this that happened in our house previously, it started to make a lot more sense. And then the rest of us, like the rest of the time that we lived there, we kept having the same experiences, but it was never like negative, and it was usually repeating experiences, like the stairs, the sounds of the stairs, which obviously this baby was born stillborn. So I don't know scientific of what ghosts do. Like, I don't know, do they grow up as ghosts or do they stay a baby? So it's like, we say it's like footsteps that we were hearing, but if it's the case where like ghosts stay the age that they die at, then technically this baby wouldn't be running up and down the stairs, you know? We really felt like that was the baby that passed away in that house. And the cops don't have, they think that the baby was born stillborn, but I don't know. That's the only article we could ever find written about this case. We don't know what happened. We don't know what the ending result was. We don't know if this mom is in jail. We don't know if she went to jail. We have no idea. This is all that we could find. We did, when we moved out, we tried to take the ghost with us because we heard that if you open a box and you invite the ghost, that you can take the ghosts, because we just, I don't know, it's weird. If you don't believe in ghosts, obviously you're not going to believe in this, and like it's going to sound stupid and crazy. We just felt connected to the ghost after living there for so long, and then also knowing the story behind it. Yeah, that's really like the only ghost encounter story that I have. That's the one that makes the most sense because of the background that goes with it. I think about, honestly, I think about, why does it make me want to cry, actually? I just think about it a lot, about us growing up for a little bit in that house and the little baby growing up with us. And it just makes me so sad that that kind of thing could happen. You know, it's like you don't really think that stuff happens, and then you hear about it and you're like, wow, why would a mother do that? I just pray for that baby, honestly. I pray for both of those babies. I just pray that they have peace now. I really hope that mom is in jail, but I highly doubt she's still in jail because that was from 2000s. I don't remember when exactly that was, but definitely when I was like really little. So it was probably like 2006, 7, 8, around that time. So that is my ghost story, and also very sad story that goes along with it. Whenever I think about that story, it makes me very sad because obviously the content of it is just sad, and the fact that I like lived in that house, I feel like the energy stays in a house, you know? Like the energy of stuff that happens stays in the house. For me at least, I believe that. Let me know what you guys thought about the stories that we talked about today. Obviously, the one that I thought was the absolute craziest was the under the bed thing. And I cannot believe that. I mean, what? Like, literally, we read this story about the guy wanting to eat this girl's tattoo, and then who would have thought that something could have trumped that? Like, what? And then the other story, thank you so much for submitting that. I love hearing like your guys' stories, obviously, because you're the listeners of this show. So I do love to hear those stories. And I believe you. I believe that you saw a ghost, because I didn't ever see the ghost, like actually like you're describing it, but I know that there was a ghost there. And you could feel like the energy. But if you don't believe in ghosts, then you're going to think this whole episode was a crock of shit. But it's okay. I still love you. Yeah, let me know what you thought. Let me know how your Halloween went. Let me know what you were for Halloween. I was nothing. I was going to dress up for this, but then I'm like, I don't feel like going and buying stuff. And yeah, I wanted to have like a nice, like a fun little decoration theme of Halloween, but I always get ahead of myself. I'm like, I'm going to do this. But then I'm like, I don't feel like going to the store, actually. I don't feel like driving. Like, I hate driving. And I really, guys, please pray for me. Manifest that I'm going to get a new car, because I'm saving up for a new car. I need to get new insurance in February. And I really, really, really want to get a new car in February. I've never bought a new car by myself, guys. I've only ever had, so in high school, when I turned 16, my mom gave me a car that was given to her by one of her former patients. So my mom was a hospice nurse for a long time growing up, and she would take care of, like, obviously people that were transitioning into passing away. And there was a man that she took care of that was mid-30s, and he was such a great guy. And he lived at his parents because obviously he was, he was in transition and passing away at the time. So he lived with his parents. They were very, very wealthy. And my mom took care of him. And my mom's like the sweetest angel you'll ever meet in your life, like the nicest woman ever. She's literally just so nice to everyone. She has the most like pure soul ever. And she took care of this man. Actually he had lost what I can't really remember exactly. I think 30% of his brain to brain cancer, and she took care of him for years. So they developed a really strong bond, really strong connection. And he asked his parents that after he died, if they would give my mom his car. So after he passed away, my they gave my mom his car, and she used it for a while, and then when I turned 16 she gave it to me, and I used it for a while, and I'm pretty sure my brother like has it now. I think my brother fixed it up, like literally rebuilt the whole inside of it and still uses it. So yeah, it was really amazing. And then in college, I went to college without a car, and then I think my sophomore or junior year of college, my stepdad actually bought me a little green Bug. So I have a Volkswagen Bug right now, and I've had for like 6 years now, probably. And it's definitely like everything is wrong with it. Like everything, it's falling apart, and it's crazy. But I'm not like a spender like that, so it takes a lot to get something new for me. But I really, really think that this would make me feel so good if I could accomplish that. And I just feel like it'd be a big accomplishment for me because I've never actually bought a car by myself, not even like a cheap car. But I'm really grateful to have gotten cars like given to me because not everyone gets that. Like, I'm very grateful for my stepdad for buying me that car. I would have had no way to buy a car. I was broke, and he bought me that car. And then obviously the car that I got in high school was meant a lot. It has just a lot of meaning behind it in general. So yeah. But yeah, that's all for today. I think this was kind of a short episode, but I hope that you guys had a good time, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Yeah, it's Friday. So happy Friday. I hope you guys have the best weekend ever, and I'll talk to you guys later. Love you.